What's going on to all my cool cats in quarantines? You see what I did there? Since I'm talking to the CFC youth group and we're in the midst of a quarantine, you get it. Anyway, it's your boy Bryan, aka Carl with a K, aka Firm Handshake, coming to you from deep inside the bunker to give you a good word. Y'all already know how we do it. We out here living clean and loving Jesus. The church has been doing its 5 times 5 times 5 on the book of Galatians last week, which means that today we're reaching chapter 6, and I want to share a good word with you from that chapter, in particular a version called The Message, which is a modern English translation that I highly recommend. If you've ever had trouble understanding the these and the thous of the King James Version, find a translation that you can understand that makes sense to you. And I do recommend The Message. It starts off on chapter 6 saying, live creatively, friends. Oh, what a great intro. What a great way to begin. Live creatively. It's a great piece of advice. A lot of you guys have been bored during this quarantine trying to figure out what to do with all this extra time on your hands. Be creative. It's a good opportunity to explore some of those talents and desires that God has put in your heart. Some of you are very talented musicians, writers, great with stuff like videos and things like this. You could really be helping us out. Punch up some of these videos. Give it that extra oomph it needs to boost up our content. We would appreciate it. It takes talented individuals who know how to do all that stuff. And now is a great time to be living creatively. It goes on to say, though, that if someone falls into sin, forgivingly restore them, saving your critical comments to yourself, because tomorrow you may be the one that finds themselves in trouble. Bottom line, nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. And so we want to treat others the way we want to be treated, which means save your critical words to yourself. We all know somebody at school or sometimes somebody at home who never has anything positive to say, who's always critical. The Old Testament book of Proverbs says that words have the power to heal or wound, of life or death. We can use our words to lift somebody up, or we can use our words to tear them down. Don't be critical of others. Don't be judgmental. Don't use that ugly language, which is pretty easy to do nowadays with all the social media, that we can make comments from behind a keyboard and pretend that we don't have to face the consequences. But realize that when you say those critical things, you are affecting someone. So treat people the way you want to be treated. Show them love and forgiveness and restore them, because we all make mistakes. And I know that's especially hard now that we're all spending so much more time together. Parents aren't going to work, kids aren't going to school, and you're probably sick and tired of your abuelita trying to get you to explain Tiger King to her. But listen, show some patience, show some love and forgiveness, and don't speak critical words. I'm going to finish up this time with one more verse from the beginning of chapter 6 of Galatians that says, make a careful exploration of who you are and the work you have been given, and then sink yourself into that. Don't be impressed with yourself, and don't compare yourselves to others. Each of you must take responsibility for doing the creative best you can with your own life. That's great advice, boys and girls. Listen to what the Bible says. It says to explore your creativity, to live your best life, to show others love and forgiveness, and treat them like you want to be treated. But it's also encouraging you not to compare yourself to other people. I know it's hard to do with so much social media, Instagram, Facebook, so many different platforms where you see other people putting their best life out there. Makes us feel kind of small. But just understand that so much that you see online isn't reality. And you don't have to live your life comparing yourself to other people. Maybe you're not bothered about what's online. Maybe you're bothered about what's next door or down the hallway from you. Sometimes we're busy comparing ourselves to the people we have in our own homes. But that's no way to live, because God made you unique with a purpose and talents and gifts that are unique to you. And you're not meant to be somebody else. And if you spend all your life trying to be someone you're not and trying to be somebody else, you miss out on what God has prepared for you. So Live your life creatively. Show that love and forgiveness and kindness, and don't speak critical about others. Treat them the way you want to be treated. Don't compare yourself to everybody else, but understand that you have a responsibility to use that creativity wisely, because Galatians also says that we all will one day give account for how we chose to live our life. And that's not just the decisions that we're making during this quarantine, but all the time, always. You can take those talents and hide them away and never use them, or you can be using them responsibly. The choice is yours, and one day you will have to give account for those decisions. So my advice to you is to be creative during this quiet time, during this quarantine. Explore those talents, those gifts, those desires responsibly. Don't bother trying to compare yourself to everybody else, and don't speak critical of others, but give God your best and see what he can do with that. Best wishes to everybody. Stay safe.